Welcome to the Walking Dead UK podcast. It's Entertainment Talks podcast for The Walking Dead on AMC. I'm your host Matthew, and I'm gonna be doing some podcast update and announcements for the whole world of The Walking Dead. As you would have seen in the picture, or maybe you haven't seen the picture, maybe you just clicked on the episode and whatever. There is all three of the Walking Dead TV shows in the picture, and I think you know where I'm going with this, but I'm gonna do the announcements and do the updates. So The Walking Dead is going to have its Season 10 finale, Season 10 Episode 16 on October 4th. We're going to do the finale podcast on the 7th. There's no need to do any sort of preview for that. So there's that as well. So that was, one of the more obvious ones, I suppose. We're already covering the show. We've been covering it for years. It's probably one of our longest running podcasts. But anyway, the podcast for that is going to be on the 7th of October. If you're in the UK, of course, Walking Dead is on Fox, and the episode is going to be on the 5th. So the Monday, or the way it's been for years, Sunday AMC episode, Monday Fox for the UK, and then a couple of days later we do the podcast on the Wednesday. Pretty standard, pretty much what's been going on for the last, 3 or 4 years or so, at least for us. Walking Dead World Beyond, which is the new teen-led kind of series, which is going to be a limited run of 2 seasons. Me and David are going to be podcasting on that show. For those of you that don't know, if you're in the UK, it's going to be available the next day. So again, Sunday AMC episode, Monday the UK, but it's going to be available on Amazon Prime. Now, because Amazon Prime doesn't do live television, I know they do live sports, but I'm talking about live television. There's no 9 o'clock airing, so it's going to be the next morning in the UK on Amazon Prime. So you will unfortunately need a different subscription service to do that, or to get that, which sometimes TV isn't the way you want it to be run. But anyway, it's like with the Arrowverse shows; they're starting to end up all over the place. But anyway. Walking Dead World Beyond, me and David are going to be covering that show. I think what we're going to do is, because that's going to be the same week, the week of the 4th, starting from the Sunday, and then obviously the podcast on the 7th, the episode for the UK on the 5th, so the next day on the Monday, as I've already explained. I think we're going to do a sort of early afternoon podcast and then a later afternoon podcast. My guess would be that the early afternoon podcast would be the Walking Dead finale episode, because that's pretty much going to be, the big event. Because as me and David have suspected, that episode will probably lead into something for World Beyond. Now, I probably know a bit more about what this could be. Not necessarily what it always is, but what it could be. And I think he's right. I think he's right about that. Given what's already been hinted about the group and helicopters and whatnot, I think he's probably right about that. So that makes sense as to what, because they were going to air that in April, weren't they? And they probably could have, but obviously they saved it for later. They obviously wanted to air it after the episode, after Walking Dead finished its 10th season, and you can kind of see as to why. There might be some sort of connection there, and we'll see how the episode plays out. Fear the Walking Dead, on the other hand, which airs again on AMC for the US. So if you're in the US, AMC Sundays, basically 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whatever. I don't know what time Talking Dead's going to be on, but nonetheless, probably straight after. So Fear the Walking Dead is going to be on October the 11th. So that's going to be the week after The Walking Dead finishes. Here's where I actually come into a bit of a question. When you're in a situation where you can't film new content because of the pandemic, and Fear the Walking Dead could have some significance, significance to The Walking Dead and what Walking Dead World Beyond. It could. I don't think it's going to, but I could be wrong about that. You could have made it so that you had 26 weeks worth of episodes, where you have 10 of World Beyond, which I'm pretty sure it's going to be 10 episodes, and then 16 episodes of Fear the Walking Dead. But they decided to air them at the same time, so they've got 16 episodes of content. But that's just the way that is. For the UK, of course, you need AMC in the UK. For those that might be wondering how I get the episodes, because I don't have the BT stuff and whatnot, I do usually get the season pass on the Microsoft Store. They do actually do those sorts of things. Hopefully they still do it again this year. They probably will, because they've done it the last couple of years. That usually makes it available the day after or whatever. Pretty much. So I've been doing that for the last couple of seasons. I think I've explained that before a few seasons ago. So nonetheless, I'm going to be watching the episode as well. So I'm going to be doing a solo podcast for that. So how it's basically going to work is Wednesday the 7th of October, the Walking Dead season finale and the Walking Dead World Beyond episodes. We'll be doing those 2 episodes. That'll be me and David. So that will finish off season 10 of the Walking Dead, and it will start the 10-week, or it'll be 9 weeks after that, of Walking Dead World Beyond. So that will be me and David. Because then you take away one of those shows, which will be the main Walking Dead, and Fear the Walking Dead the next week will take its place. That will basically take the episode's place, and then I'm going to do that one on my own. So there you go. So how come this is kind of happening? I mean, two things I've kind of looked at is, okay, there ain't going to be, we're not going to have our DC shows back in October. You might have Titans or whatever. I mean, that's usually in January for us anyway. You might have some other stuff we don't quite know yet, but as far as we know so far, these dates have been set for these shows and all that. The Walking Dead podcast has been and still is one of our most successful, and yes, the viewers have dropped over the last few seasons and whatnot, which is a bit of a shame because, as we've discussed before, seasons 9 and 10 have been miles better than seasons 7 and 8, which is where the audience drop-off happened. Mainly, the Negan-Glenn storyline and all that stuff for the season 7. Because they've gone from pretty much 17 million to about 3 viewers. But that's just live numbers, and there's other things to take into account, so whatever. So I kind of thought, okay, I've been watching Fear the Walking Dead anyway for 5 or 6 seasons. I think it's going into season 6. Why don't I kind of lean on it a little bit more? Lean on the franchise a bit more, I suppose, because me and David are probably going to do a review for the Rick Grimes film. I mean, why would we miss that? We have no idea when that's going to be. We haven't even got a trailer yet, so that's a discussion for another time. But I kind of just thought, okay, I'm going to be watching World Beyond. I said to David, like, okay, it's going to be on Amazon. You have Amazon, because he usually watches Fear the Walking Dead with the Prime season uploads, like a few months later or whatever they are. But I said to David, like, okay, you've got access to Prime. I've got access to Prime. It's going to be the same deal: Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Sunday US episode, Monday UK episode, Wednesday for the podcast. Do you want to do that as well? Because Walking Dead will be off the air at least after that first week, and we can kind of just continue that. The other thing that helps with World Beyond is they've confirmed that it's only going to be 2 seasons, so it's not going to be a show that we're tied down to for 10 seasons or whatever. There'll probably be other Walking Dead shows after that, but at least for that show we know it's going to be a double limited series type of thing. So it all kind of clicked into place for that. Like, okay, we won't have Walking Dead on, there's going to be a different Walking Dead. We know we can do this first season, we know we both have access to it, and we know it's going to be a shorter kind of run. So that made sense as well. Fear the Walking Dead for me was kind of just like, okay, it's most likely in the future it's going to be on when The Walking Dead isn't, and that sort of thing, or at least from what we can kind of guess at the moment. So I kind of thought, okay, I watched the show as well. It is a Walking Dead show. It doesn't have, I mean, it does actually have crossovers because Dwight and Morgan are over there, but it doesn't have direct, like, connections or whatever, but still it's part of the world. There's characters over there that we care about, and it's part of the franchise. People still watch it and that, and I kind of thought, okay, I should just lean into these shows kind of thing, not like, okay, rely on them or whatever, but you know what I mean? Like, we do most of the Arrowverse shows and all that, so I kind of just thought it made sense to do the other 2. Will this work? Will this be successful? Will I cover guaranteed the next season of Fear the Walking Dead? Well, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see how it goes numbers wise, or maybe the show turns really crap, I don't know, but anyway. So that's your updates for Walking Dead, and then World Beyond, and then Fear the Walking Dead as well. If you've got any questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, ideas, whatever, or any feedback for these shows, remember to write in once these episodes start and all that. Matthew at entertainmenttalk.org, Twitter eTalkUK, there's a contact page and information in your show notes. But that's pretty much it. In terms of previews, because I know that I've talked about, characters that might be in different places or whatever. In terms of previews, me and David have already discussed that we're not going to do a World Beyond preview thing. In terms of a Fear the Walking Dead preview, maybe I might do that, because usually we do that as kind of a kick-off kind of thing for the season, but I kind of thought I could just use this in a way. But with Fear, I might just wait till the season starts and whatever. But yeah, with Walking Dead and Walking Dead World Beyond, as we've said before, we have a feeling that the Walking Dead finale, season 10 episode 16, will set up World Beyond anyway, and then we'll just cover that episode the same week. So there won't be necessarily previews for these seasons, so we'll see how that goes. in the future and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, so 7th, and then the 11th, 12th, 13th, I think the 14th of October is maybe the Wednesday. But the Wednesday after the 11th of October, that's when the Fear the Walking Dead podcast is going to be. Anyway, I think I've made my point clear. I think I've said what I need to say. Thank you all very much for listening. And yeah, we're going to obviously be making other stuff between now and then. But we'll see you in October for all the Walking Dead stuff. And thank you very much for listening. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye.